Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ACS Edu Tour Season 4, as this is the In-Season Cup, all brought to you by our dear partners that make it all possible. And with that, we'd like to thank our official instant noodle partners, Maggie Hot Cup, of course, keeping you guys warm all the time. And of course, we also thank our official smartphone partners, ZTE Nubia, our official chocolate malt drink, Vico, Game Recharge partners, 11, Tune Talk as our official telco partners. And of course, all of this is organized by Crit Malaysia. I'm Contra, and here alongside with me is Sir Cloud as we bring you some of the finest talents all across the ASEAN contingent as we are diving into the Heroes Gorge for some epic HOK action.
Yeah, and not to forget as well, this tournament is supported by the Malaysian Esports Federation, MESF, and Impact Integrated ESI. And today, it will be a very interesting group of teams that we will be seeing. We won't be seeing only the usual state teams that we have seen before this in our almost weekly, almost daily sort of sessions. But today, we're going to involve teams from outside of Malaysia as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've got so many of all these bright talents all across, from varsities in Indonesia, from Brunei, and of course, so much more, including the Philippines as well. While we've also witnessed a lot of all these teams hailing from all these varsities across the Malaysian states, they will now be vying for that one chance to not only claim this championship, but they will also be offered with a 12-month-long contract to sign with Crit Esports. And I think that is definitely a huge prize on the line.
Oh yeah, definitely, right? That and also support with a professional coach as well. Lots to uncover here, ladies and gentlemen. And just to illustrate to all of you, this is the prize pool here. First place will take home 5,000 ringgit. Second place will be 3,000 ringgit. Third place will be 1,500 ringgit. Fourth place will be 500 ringgit. So the bare minimum to take home a piece of the prize pool will be at least top four. So top four has to be the aim for all these teams. And we have a lot of teams eyeing for the top four.
That's right. I mean, they are playing through the group stages, and once they do top the group, they can guarantee themselves that prize money. But of course, there's a lot more to play for. We talked about the potential contract also being on the line. But here are our in-season cup participants hailing from Kuala Lumpur, Negeri Sembilan, Sarawak, Perak, Pahang, Terengganu, Kedah, Perlis, Kelantan, Melaka, Sabah, Pulau Pinang, Johor, and Labuan. Of course, not forgetting Selangor to represent Malaysia in general. But of course, they're fighting for not only the nation, but the pride of their own state.
Yep, going up against three teams from Indonesia, one team from Brunei, and one team from the Philippines. Now, in case if you wonder, how are these teams selected? Well, because for the past few weeks to a month or so, these teams they have been playing with each other within their respective states, and the champion for each state now will represent their respective state into today's tournament. Now, for today's tournament format, we will have 15 ACS Grand Finalists, that is from each state, and 5 ASEAN teams that will be playing here together. So there will be 20 teams in total. Today will be day one of the group stages. 5 teams will be put into 4 different groups, and they will play a round robin in a best of 1 series. Only the top one from each group will move on to day number 2. And in day number 2, it will be a single elimination format, no second chances. Played in the best of 3 series in the semifinals, and the bronze match will be played in the best of 3 series as well, and in the grand finals will be best of 5.
Yeah, as we speak about all these participants as well, they are divided into each respective group. I mean, they've already proven that they are worthy enough to be the grand finalists here. But this is going to be a tough challenge across all groups because we've got, of course, Indonesia, Brunei, the Philippines as well, being involved in each respective group. And on top of that, of course, the challengers coming in from all across the Malaysian varsities as well. This is a full stack ASEAN roster that's going to go toe-to-toe, and they're going to play in this best of 1 format. So I guess there's definitely pros and cons to this because we are actually implementing the global ban system. So in the best of 1, that global ban does not really affect all these teams, means that they could actually look for the best picks possible in this group stages.
Yeah, and can you imagine? So we have 5 teams in the group, right? But only the top 1 from each group will move forward. That is quite a tight grouping, I would say. Well, today's schedule, we're not going to look at every single game. If not, well, we will be here on the broadcast till the next day. We will be picking some interesting matches for us to show on the broadcast. The other matches will be played off the broadcast, that is. And we're going to start off game number 1 with Pulau Pinang versus Perak. Match number 2 will be Brunei versus Pahang. Match 3 will be Indonesia 2 versus Wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur. Match 4 is Indonesia 1 versus Pulau Pinang. And match 5 will be Philippines versus Indonesia 3.
Yeah, I really do like the kind of intercontinental battles that will be taking place eventually. But of course, we start things off pretty much nice and steady with Pulau Pinang versus Perak. Now, let's talk a little bit about our very first matchup here because I do think that there are quite a number of stacked rosters. I think that you've definitely highlighted that Pulau Pinang, they do feel quite a strong lineup coming into this tournament.
Oh yeah, I remember because I casted Pulau Pinang, so I remember this team called PNG Best. PNG 1 Best, or was it PNG Best 1? I think it was PNG 1 Best. But anyway, their name just shows it by itself, right? Like they are the best in Pulau Pinang. And obviously they have represented the state and they will be playing here today, going up against Perak. So it'll be an interesting opener for us to see our best of 1 series within the group stage. Well, but then again, that was back then, right? We don't know how much has changed from back then to today. What sort of training have they gone through? Same goes for Perak as well. So it may come out as a surprise result by the end of this round.
Yeah, and true to what you've mentioned as well, as much as you're highlighting that this is the best from Penang, you gotta also notice that these teams representing each respective varsity state, they are literally the best of their own territory as well. So Perak, whether if they're from Ipoh or any different parts of that region, it will definitely have pretty much great surprises for us to check out what exactly will they bring to the table. Are they going to stick to the kind of meta picks, or do they have like some of all these ranked demons that have been able to really steal the whole spotlight by themselves? So definitely there's a lot to, of course, uncover throughout the rest of the group stages. But is there something that you're expecting to see here in the ACS Edu Tour? Because I think like overall there's just gonna be a lot of all these big team fights between all these teams across the group.
Yeah, I'm expecting like since there's good amount of time since the state stages, right? State stages there. There's a bit of a tongue twister there. State stages until now. So I would expect like some of the teams that have qualified here and they know that they'll be playing this stage of the tournament to kind of brush up on their drafting, and we might see a lot more meta picks here to be brought onto the game. Now, speaking about the game, Contra, we're gonna go into our first draft here, and we're gonna start off with a ban onto Luna, one of the assassin junglers around. Being taken out. You just don't want to deal with the mobility of the Luna, right?
Yeah, I think like she's always been very, very lethal, especially when you take a look at even the pro scene. When you're dealing with a very highly skilled Luna, she could just easily dance around those team fights and just offer so much of that burst damage. So I think like other than jungle picks, like even things that we've seen in the MKL a whole lot, we're also expecting maybe some bans to be invested on supports and perhaps clash laners. And if we're looking at mid lane, perhaps there's going to be consideration for Mai to be axed off that list. We'll have to wait and tell because Pei is going to be the next jungler taken off the list by Para.
Yeah, if they're going for meta bans, then yeah, Mai is definitely one of those. Dharma too. Even like the Arlie is a meta ban as well. We only have one more ban left. So the call is for Para. What are they not willing to deal with? Are they not willing to deal with the meta bans, or do they have something, what I would call a trauma ban? It's
trauma ban.
Not one of those meta bans, like maybe like let's say a Kui, for example, or a or maybe like a Chayan, for example. But because maybe they have felt some trauma in their ranked games or in their scrims, like they just don't want to deal with that kind of hero, but they choose to ban Mayan, which I think is an okay ban.
Yeah, I think like is definitely one of the Esther picks going into the cash lane. It's definitely highly mechanical in that sense, but Yuhuan is going to be that perfect opener for the side of Penang, where it does not really reveal too much about this draft. It could still go around mid lane. You could still kind of opt in to play as a roaming support in that sense. So options are plenty for the side of Penang as they start with a steady pick. Now, what does Perak respond with? I'm liking where this is going. We have Ying hovering on that Byron, which have always been that steady laner up over on the Clash lane. And to also double down, we have Zepang already locking one of the best mid lane poke mages in the game.
Yeah, if it's played by them, if it's played by you, that would be a Clash Lane poke. we'll find that out next time, right? Probably Contra. But for
probably.
the jungler, it's going to be Menki, so they have a tank jungler, and they picked Arlie. So Penang looks like they are bringing out the big guns in their first three picks. Very, very meta, I must say. I was kind of surprised that Para didn't put too much focus onto Arlie, because Arlie is a hot pick even in the professional stage. But they let that one go, and Penang will be happy to pick that one up.
Yeah, I think like there's still certain ways that you can deal with the Arlie, especially with her being slightly weak in the early game. So you get your hands on that Chano to kind of respond in kind. If you're gonna go blow for blow, maybe in the early game that Chano can still have a decent kind of good trade up against the Arlie. Whereas if you have too much of that pressure, I think all eyes is on this Nua pick where she could just maybe teleport onto that fight and really make this Arlie hold back for a little bit. So that's gonna be the first phase. We've already locked in both marksmen on the list. Now, Penang really has to also consider what kind of clash laners they really have to go for and what other jungle options are on that list for the rest of Perak, because Enki has already been taken. So for now, they're gonna double down. Okay, we're taking out supports. No Data, no Dolia, and perhaps tank supports will be the thing for both teams.
I was kind of surprised that Penang actually took out the Diadia, because Diadia is a good combo with the Arlie. But then again, maybe they have something else up their sleeves. Perhaps they might be thinking of using a tank sort of support, because like a Zhangfei is still open, so that's also a pretty hot pick as well. And now with the fact that they have the next pick after this one, doesn't seem like a pair is interested to go for any of the tank roam. So Penang could pick Zhangfei up.
Yeah, this is definitely very, very interesting as we take a look at the list of bans onto support. So that really puts them into a very, very tough spot. Guiguzi, we've never really seen this in professional play. So what his ulti does is that you can turn your team invisible for a duration, and you can actually set up for those big team fights. Meanwhile, Penang going for Fang and also a Guan Yu. Well, they're definitely considering a different kind of stance because they're thinking of switching things up. So we can confirm that this Yuhuan is going to be the support, while they have that Mai Shiranui open up the entire time. So they will lock it right in.
Oh, meta picks, I must say, for Penang still. With Guan Yu, with the Mai, of course, it's really, really hard. And like what you said, right, finally we find the answer that the Yuhuan is not going to go mid, it's going to go to roam, which is absolutely fine as well. It's great that Penang, how they put their draft together, they put some of those flex picks at the very beginning, so it kind of throws your opponent off. You kind of notice that actually paired up with their second phase bans, they banned both support heroes. And that's kind of wasted, right? With the fact that actually Yuhuan was the support that was already locked in earlier.
Yeah, and I think like this is the thing about, you know, investing so much on either the mid lane or even the support ban. So that being said, they could also opt to take out maybe the list of Mai Shiranui, and then even when you ban that out, you still have that U1 locked in, which can already be that easy staple for them to really hold out the lane. So I think Penang, the way that they drafted was pretty genius, and that's kind of like the benefit of having that flexibility in the draft itself. So does that give them an edge? I don't know, but I really want to figure out how does this Guiguzi plays out, because there's a few kind of build that we've seen, maybe like a tanky version of Guiguzi or maybe a DPS Guiguzi. So that definitely will be super interesting as we get ourselves ready for our first round of the day. It's Penang versus Para.
Yeah, and here we go. It's only a best of one series, ladies and gentlemen. So whatever amends, they have to wait for if they meet each other again in the playoffs between these two teams. Now for Terra, because they have a Guiguzi, we can expect that Guiguzi to just go around the map to try to catch anybody who's available, anybody who has overextended themselves, especially with the Adamis, able to pull that one person or maybe even two people together. But here's going to be my question, right? Like, even if he's able to pull maybe like one or maybe two to a certain direction, Pero doesn't really have much burst follow-up. So, for example, right, like if let's say if they pick a mid, which is a Garden mode, then yeah, that's cool. You can put a couple blades off and there will be a lot of damage output in one single shot. But because it's a Noah, it has its own burst, but only with the ult, which is the Annihilation. So I don't think it'll be enough though to kind of make those early game pickoffs.
Yeah, you can see that there was an attempt coming from Sun Hian, but he's already been taken down so dangerously low that he have to go in for the recall, and that kind of disrupts the tempo and a little bit of that EXP loss. So he's still hanging around that level 2. So same could also be said about U1, where they're just making sure that both of these marksmen are getting maximum value in gold and EXP.
Oh, if only Feng waited a slightly tad more bit, maybe he would have landed that Murphy tempo stun onto the Guiguzi, but then again, it's okay. Not going to be much impact anyway. But speaking about impact, an attempt here at the top. Looks like we're going to see a tower dive by the Guan Yu. Goes in, and that's going to be first blood secured by Penang.
That's just amazing on how he executed that Razor Cavalry in the split bow, and now we're also getting another dive down bottom. One tick of health left for their marksman. KJ is going to be walking, limping out of this bot lane.
Yeah, and overall, if we talk about the draft, I would say that Penang, they definitely have the better draft. They have early game engagement with the Mai that can go around the map. And also you have the Yuan with the Moonful Tempo stun. And it's a very spammable stun at the same time, allowing early game pickups as well. And even if you go to the late game, you have the Guan Yu, you have the Arlie. Speaking about a pickup, here comes the pickup here by Dido. Not able to get that one kill, but it's okay. As long as you're able to poke your opponent, you force them back, that's fine.
Yeah, went in with the Shinobi Bachi as well, just to give them a little bit of a taste of what this Mai can offer in the form of burst. So, that being said, what the rest of Perak can do is try to really hold some of all these camps, and they're already looking for an invade.
It's going to be a 3v1, but Minky easily goes out with the Dream Roam. Not going to be a problem for him. He is one of those tankier heroes. He can sustain a little bit longer. With the Dream Roam in the pocket, he's able to escape no problem.
Yeah, I definitely think that Perak has definitely hold their grounds pretty fine for the meantime, but there is certainly a lot of pressure on the KJ.
Oh, tower dive. Quick one there by Dido. And now they have to escape just in time. Perak still not able to find their footing yet, but keep your eye on the Guan Yu up there, Contra. He may do something interesting.
Oh yeah, he's planted deep inside, and there goes Razor Cavalry.
All in. It's going to be a 4v1. No way that Perak could have escaped that.
Not at all, and you just read that one like a book, because he's got himself into that prime position, and just like that, Perak, not only are they bleeding in resources right now, it's been 5 takedowns in the row for Penang, as they're definitely taking the driver's seat, already securing themselves a little bit of that objective in their back as well. So looking at the current state, they're definitely going to be up in the form of net worth. As a matter of fact, that's about 4,000 of the difference just in the span of less than 5 minutes.
And XY is going for the Spark Force Dagger. That will allow him to push waves even faster. It looks like Penang, they want to end this game as quickly as possible, and they should. But even if they don't, they have the late game capability with the Arlie that's able to scale to a very, very strong late game type of hero. And together with the Guan Yu as well, of course. But now they're going to try to contest for the blue. Let's see if they'll be able to get it. And looks like they will.
Oh my. And we're looking at a killing spree already formed up by the side of the XY, finding another pickoff up against this channel. And the problem is that they rely so much heavily on this channel, and now we're also looking at another one in the back for Dido as he just pulled off the full combo once again up against Ying.
Yep, and that's a Moonful Tempo stun there onto the Ogren. And he goes down immediately right after. And now Zapang shows himself. And the moment he arrives, even though he's underneath the tower, he gets deleted immediately. At this moment, Perak, they're way far behind. 6,000 gold we're talking about. And even like what, at least like 1 or 2 levels behind. And that will allow Penang to just continue to engage just like this. Even though there's like 2 towers in the middle, it doesn't stop them from going in.
Yeah, and the onslaught continues. Dream Roam coming right in. And that will force Ying to just hug by that corner turret. And you saw how confident Dido was on that dive in order to secure yet another pickoff. It's been a perfect tenor so far for side of Penang. And I'm just afraid that Perak, if they go on to this current spree and not look for a shutdown, this could certainly be Penang taking them down.
That's going to be another Moonful Tempo. Straightforward elimination at the bottom, taking down the tower at the same time. And that's going to be their next target, Mr. Ogren. But lucky enough for him, he is one of the tankier heroes. He's able to step away for now. But for how long? Because Penang, they're not backing off. The enemy is used, but nobody's there to follow up. And Junhen will pay for it. Unfortunately, his teammates weren't ready.
Not at all. And just like that, we're already looking at an inhibitor turret to be seized eventually. It's going to be a firm hold from the side of KJ as well as the Augur for the meantime. But pressure on bot lane.
Oh, look at this. Goes in. It's going to be go. And here comes the charge. Coming in, pushing them out, allowing his other teammates to finish them off 13-0 right now. Perak, I don't know, man. How are they going to come back from this?
I don't think that there's much that can be done unless if they could find a way to stall it all out. Now it's going to be the Goikutsu trying to find that pick, but Klo is not exactly the target that you really want to even pull back towards your team. And now the waves are stacking in, and they're going for that push.
Oh, they're going in right now with the mind behind him. Dido comes in, but at the same time, XY gets his own kill. And now it's going to be a 4v5. No way that they have the amount of damage right now to fight back against Penang. All they can hope for right now is for Penang to make a mistake and probably win back that jungle spot.
Yeah, at this rate, they're just playing so flawlessly. They are just dancing around. They don't even care if there's a turret around where they could just easily just drive right through it. Meanwhile, Feng looking for a big setup, and the rest of Para, they can only afford to maybe catch a couple of all these waves crashing right in. And take a look at that. They can actually go for either the Overlord if they really want to, but they're just waiting for it to be empowered by the 10-minute mark. Well, never mind that because Goal is already working on it.
Yep, might as well, right? And then when it comes to the 10-minute mark, you think about the 10-minute mark later. Now with the Overlord in the hands of Penang, they want to double down with the Tyrant as well. Annihilation from afar. Para tries to steal it away, but a little bit too late. Now Penang, all they need to do is just to wait for the minion waves to arrive, and I'm sure they will push again.
Yeah, and I think like we really have to go back to the draft on what really went wrong for the side of Farah. We go back to, you know, the multiple support band that leaves not much room for Farah to actually pick up a very sustainable tanky support, or even the kind of enchanters that could actually enable that channel. So we could see who exactly do you really want to pick up, because when you dive in, you can't really fight up against these mobility targets, and now that Yuhon's just gonna be easily walking out of that.
Oh yeah, able to save herself, but here comes from the back, Julian comes in with the Animus, but the counter comes with the Dream Home all the way to the back line, splitting the players of Para. Para is not able to follow up at all, and look at this goal, just go all the way in, pushing them back. Para now push their corner with only 3 players left.
His heroic charges were on point, and right now they're already opening up the base, and this might just be it. Penang looking to draw the first win of the tournament here in the ACS Season 4.
And it's a perfect win, Contra. 19-0 below 10 minutes. Penang wrapped their game number 1 up flawlessly. I must say, for me personally, from the draft, it was a power pick draft. Penang had everything. They had burst damage, they had early game, they have crowd control, they have pickoffs, they have everything within their arsenal. But for Perak, unfortunately, there were some synergy gaps here. You have like the Guguzer who can go for like early game pickoffs, going around the map, pull people with Animus, but who is going to be able to pull off the amount of burst damage to take that one shot to like take down like 2 or 3 people when the anime is pulled? So they don't really have that combination together.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a synergy in their draft that's a little bit lacking, as well as the kind of follow-up that is required to even keep up the pace of the Guguzi. We see some proactive moves, but unfortunately, it's just very, very clean plays coming from the side of Penang. You saw Go, he pulled off so many amazing initiation with his Razor Cavalry. You even had Dido to go in for those deep dives, but all odds were locked in on XY. You saw that was also that duel that he go up against Zapang. He tried to go in for the Annihilation, and yet again, XY, try as you may, this is a formidable early player, as he's got probably the best stats possible in this round with 82k of damage dished out in less than 10 minutes.
I'm trying to do the math here. If you combine all the players of Para, okay, you will still have more damage output than XY. If not, it will be just too much, right? But still, it just shows the dominance of the entire team. If you you win 90-0 below 10 minutes, honestly, it's just a stomp. So I guess Para, but okay, to be fair to Para, it's not the end of the world for them. It is the group stage. There are still more games to go for Para, so they can still make a comeback. But the tough thing is that only one will go through from each group. So that's going to be the challenge for Para. But nevertheless, as long as you still have games, you can still play. let's check out who will be the MVP here in this round. And I guess, even based on the stats, we have to award it to XY.
I mean, he's been so perfect on his execution. You saw so many proactive plays as well. This is not the Arlie that sits back and wait for those moments to appear. XY actually creates those big moments out there, and you saw he barely took too much of those kind of brunt of the damage. So that tells you that he's willing to put himself at risk to also go for those big engages, and just like that, it's been a flawless record. None of these players fell, but that 10 kill pickoff was definitely a little bit of the icing on the cake so far for the side of Penang. Everyone walks away with a little bit of something, but so far, Penang is looking like the team to beat here in Group A.
Oh yeah, they are looking really solid. I mean, from the draft itself, because of that first Yuhuan pick, if you remember, like the second phase ban for Pera, they got thrown off. Like they banned 2 support heroes back to back when that Yuhuan was the support and it wasn't a mid Yuhuan. So Penang, they clearly know their draft. They know how to play the psychological game during the drafting phase as well, on top of also putting up a good draft for themselves. So like what you said, Contra, this team is the team, well, at least for our first game, okay, because we're still early here today, but they are looking like one of the teams to beat.
Yeah, overall, like the kind of composure that they've shown as well, the timing on the rotations, you saw that big eruption of a fight over the top side. Even despite those players from the side of Perak to be playing a little bit more of that defensive stance, you just see how he didn't mind that. He just went in with that Razor Cavalry and he says, you know what, I'm just going to get all these charges of heroic charge. He's just going to shove players around. And just like that, it enables everybody to eventually be ramped up. Especially we saw Dido on that My Shiranui. I think it was a stuff of beauty on how he actually goes in for pickoffs after pickoffs after pickoffs. And what's the problem about dealing with this draft? I mean, there's just high mobility targets. You don't know who you want to focus on. And you also have sustain coming from the Yuhuan. So this is definitely something that is very, very tough for any team to manage. So I would say Pera, now that they had the first taste of this kind of offerings, they'll be a little bit more mindful moving forward to the next couple of games that they play out.
And because the format is pretty tight, right? Only the number one team will move to the next stage, which is the playoff. So to a certain extent, they also have to hope that Penang loses one of their next games and then they themselves wins their games so that they would have a chance to move to the playoffs. So it's going to be pretty tight, frankly speaking. If like you have 5 teams, but only one team moves forward, you drop a game, you already have to hope for your opponent to lose their next game.
Yeah, and for Penang, now that they've already taken one game, if they win another 2, that just confirms it that they will be moving into the finals playoffs. So that being said, though, there's still, of course, all the other concurrent matches running throughout the groups as well. I'm wondering who else can actually match up to the tempo of Pulau Pinang, because they look really, really strong. So, of course, we're going to be taking a look at, what are the upcoming matchups as well, as our next match will be between Brunei versus Pahang. Now, I do know for a fact that Brunei, they've been having a lot of all these big train methods, and they definitely have a very supportive government backing on all these prodigies in esports. So I'm definitely looking forward to this match because they will be fighting the powerhouses of Pahang.
Oh yeah, we're talking about more interesting games though, besides the Brunei versus Pahang, and of course we also have like the next few games like Indonesia versus KL that I think a lot of the followers of ACS will be looking forward to watch as well. But that will be coming up in our match number 3. We're going to focus on, of course, match number 2 first, featuring Brunei versus Pahang. So it's going to be our first time in our ACS series that we're going to see Brunei play, right? So we don't know what kind of meta are they comfortable with. They might even pull off something unexpected. So I'm interested to see what comes up next.
Yeah, me too. Overall, this will be an absolute slugfest between these teams out there. Or it could also be the case where if they're going to have like the perfect draft and the right mind games to be taking place through the draft alone, we might see something as convincing as the win that we saw from Pulau Pinang. So I can't wait to actually dive into the next match. Pahang versus Brunei. This is definitely gonna be a spicy one for our game too.
Oh yeah, absolutely, right? Plus, it's a best of one series, so it has to be all in for all these teams. So they cannot make any mistakes. They have to keep it perfect from the drafting phase to the execution phase to how they close things off inside the game. So it's going to be interesting though, because best of one series, you don't really, you might not know much of your opponent. If it's like a best of three, it's like, okay, game one, we kind of know how they play. And then we can like make amends on game number two. But best of one is just really that tight. But before we head on to that game, we're just going to revisit the different groups that are assigned here in our tournament. And all these teams are sorted into 4 different groups, Group A, B, C, and D, as you can see on screen.
That's right. And of course, Penang have already taken the first win while we're having the rest of Group A to play things out. So just to correct myself, instead of 3 wins, if you secure 4 back-to-back wins, that could definitely set any team to be that team to be moving into the next stage for tomorrow. Whereas if there happens to be any form of tiebreakers, this is the ruling that follows. So we'll base it on game differential. Let's say maybe head-to-head, you have maybe better KDA in the form of head-to-head. That is also going to be considered as well. And in the single round robin tiebreaker match, if everybody seems to be like neck and neck, let's just say like, oh, everybody only gets like 1 win and like 4 losses, and I don't know how do we really settle it, right? So of course we'll leave it to the marshals, but for now that's not something that is of concern. But up next we're going to be moving into the Group B matchup. Like we said, it was Brunei versus Pahang, so we'll have to really gauge what really are the strengths of Brunei, because this is a team that we have not really gotten too much of, thoughts around overall.
Okay, so since we are moving on to our next match coming soon, right? And like what you said, we don't have much information on how their play style is or what kind of comfort picks do they normally play with. For you, besides a My Clash lane, what else would you like to see?
Well, overall, I think like good Mayin players are always fun to watch. I think like there's just so many creative options on the table. So far, we've seen a Mai Shiranui played over mid lane. Of course, that's where she's designated to be. We'll have to definitely see if there's going to be anything to try to counteract that as well. So we'll have to, of course, wait for the drafts to appear for us to really find out a little further. And of course, we will wait no longer. Pahang versus Brunei is already underway with our couple of bans already taking shape. Interesting enough, Arthur banned from Brunei. So I think this specifically is saying that, okay, I want to pick a very specific hero, and that is my counter. Do you think that's going to be the case for Brunei?
Right. I thought that you wanted to say that Arthur is probably a trauma ban.
maybe, but I think like usually Mayin players don't like to deal with that Arthur. I think like that could very well be the pickup, and this is definitely a very different variant that we're seeing here, because we have Zhangzi and pretty much Luna being the usual staple. But talk to me about that Gan and Mo ban, because this is a very high skill cap hero where you're very reliant on skill shots, and Brunei does not want to mess with that.
Yeah, so you ban out the Gan and Mo. Maybe you don't want it to combo with the Liang, or even maybe like the Guiguzi, like how we saw earlier. So you just want to put that out. And there could also potentially be another pick, the Athena. The Gan and Mo is a direct counter to the Athena roam that likes to feed inside the jungle as well. Maybe Brunei might be thinking of that. But so far, they're not really hovering onto the Athena. They might lock in the Yarya instead, which is a interesting pick, because it's not one of those more engaging sort of supports. So that also means that when they need to pick their jungles later, they need to pick a jungle that engages a lot more. For example, like a Menki or like a Agudo.
Yeah, and I'm liking the kind of variants that we're also looking at right now. We finally get the Damar that was not being banned for the first phase. So Pahang is considering to pick up that very steady Clash laner. But talk to me about this combo over onto the dual lane down at the bottom, right? Because you already have the safety net for the Ao Yin, and now you double down with the Yara as well to give him even more protection. So I think like cracking the case down that lane is going to be quite difficult for Pahang, but so it goes though. This is definitely very interesting on what they've just picked up.
I worry that it might be a little too much support down at the farm lane because
Mhm.
the Long is able to use the Infinite Blasters to
Mm.
run away as well. So to a certain extent, you don't need to worry too much about protecting him because by the
Mhm.
time his health goes down, he activates the Infinite Blasters, and Infinite Blasters is a almost instant skill. It's not like, okay, it takes like a second to load or something like that. He's still able to fly away. I would have
Mhm.
preferred that if they picked the Dolia to give him a double Infinite Blasters, so you can use one Infinite Blasters to
Right.
engage and one Infinite Blasters to disengage. But nevertheless, these are the players, they have trained it before. They probably have done all their homework in their scrims and all that. I'm sure they have something up their sleeves. It's just that I have that thought at the back of my mind. It's like, how is this combination going to be executed? But I'm willing to be proved wrong.
Yeah, me too. And going into the second phase, well, I mean, we've seen a lot of all these assassin bans because they are picking something that's maybe a little bit more immobile in the mid lane with Angela arriving to the hero's gorge. So I really do like Angela as a laner because like she's very difficult to bully out of lane, right? Where when you just hit a couple of skill shots and when you channel that out, she gets this huge shield. But to also counteract with that, I think like this pickup over mid lane of what's gonna be offered here is gonna be to also match up to the case in point. So they're definitely considering that Frost where they could still have big AOE combos in those team fights. And along with that, the Yang Gen in the jungle is something that we rarely get to see.
Hmm. I like how he has the IGN Young and he picks a Young Gen. It matches his persona there. Um, I'm a little bit more worried about Brunei's draft because they lack engagement and they pick a lane. I'm not too sure. Okay, so you have the Elaine and you have the Ambrosa, right? So, but
Mhm.
between, so I have a little bit of thought of like who would go to which lane, but maybe you can still put the Ambrosa into the jungle. That's fine. Although it's not really that meta, but it's still kind of
Mhm.
doable. But my one concern about Brunei's draft is that they don't have a big beefy engager who's able to start off fights and also absorb damage at the same time.
Yeah, that definitely could be a cause for concern. So I think like overall what you pointed out, the Elaine probably will be the main guy to be soaking majority of all these damage or try to play a little bit decoy. They are kind of investing on a lot of all these big damage output, as you've already pointed out. Like, they go in for a very aggressive jungle pickup. So that's where they kind of lack on the defensive department. So if everything goes well, perhaps that Yara actually comes in handy when she actually casts her ultimate. She could just maybe ride alongside into the course of battle, either with the Elaine, either with Soviet Ghost to make some of all these efficient dives possible, and you will have Aston Gamer to continuously poke them out. So we'll have to see. Speaking of getting poked out, though, he is being forced to pop the flash early.
Ooh, and last hit. But Aston Gamer able to back off just in time. You can see how interested Pahang is to try to pick him off. They're still there. And Aston, okay, I thought that he would have gone back. Like, it would have been better for him to just, okay, down to 10% of health, just recall, reset. You lose one wave, it's okay, as long as you don't give away the first blood. But wasn't too sure. Maybe he was hesitating on whether he wants to recall or still stay in lane and not waste that wave.
Yeah, and I think like forcing that flash is definitely pivotal. And now that just costs a little bit more of that pressure build up over on the bottom side. Chaos looking to steal away the camp, and they will be successful in their attempt. Meanwhile, over on the top side, it seems like that Dharma gets that free reign of control. Now they are looking to also stash away that golem in their hand. That Crimson Golem already being secured as they're just raiding everything, and Pahang is already in the lead.
Yeah, and if we look at Pahang's draft, right, they are a little bit more balanced. Yang Jen can tank. and can engage as well, just like what he's doing here right now. And because of Yang Jen, he has this passive. If you try to move away, there's a certain distance that there will be a passive attack onto you. And that's what happened to the Elaine earlier. He got hit by the passive attack and he went down.
Yeah, and on top of that, he also does have the Crimson buff as well. So that also amplifies that kind of damage output to slowly burn down those health bars. And now they're 2-0 up for the moment. As it seems like this Zarya pickup here hasn't really provided too much of that kind of sustainability for this Lung to really hold firm. So she just got to do a better job at babysitting in that sense.
Yeah, so the Zarya, I'm not sure how to pronounce the IGN, Dunsupuzes, will need to play the babysitting. Yeah, I try, right? We need to play the babysitting role, but now you have like 3 players from Pahang onto you. As much as you want to babysit, not able to save your teammate. And at the same time, Aston, he didn't have his infinite fastness when Pahang came onto him. So I guess you got to give credit to Pahang because they had the information that, hey guys, his infinite fastness is out. He used it. This is our chance to jump onto him.
You know, in most part, when you're the support, you kind of want to soak some of the damage for your marksman, but in this case, like, they're not even dishing a single drop of damage onto them as they target line on that Lung. One more Crimson buff taken off the list once again by Yang.
Ooh, and Pahang, they're slowly eating space. Brunei won't have much space to farm if this continues on. And look at Da Chao Lee, he's just waiting for the side. He'll go in again, but this time at least Aston Gamer, he does have the Infinite Bastards, so they cannot overcommit onto him. Immediately tip pops the Infinite Bastards, but still, they're able to get the Zarya, and Zarya goes down. Now the counter engage comes in, but here is the final frenzy being popped up, but still not able to soak in enough damage, and he will still go down. Now the chase is happening here, but the counter engage comes from Bambi, beautifully executed, but still, one of their other players have to go down.
Yeah, that was some perfect lineup of all these skill shots coming in from the side of Bambi to try to find a way to convert as they do take down Lei, but at what cost though? This bottom side has been breached already with that heavy amount of pressure built in from the side of Pahang, where you saw heavy commitment coming from the side of Armstrong, really opening things up with this huge zoning of AoE, and it just instantly disallow Brunei to also form up a response of their own. So right now, they are just hugging all together, 4 members up in the mid lane. But I'm afraid that this kind of makes them lose a lot of EXP, so that is not an ideal situation for Brunei at all.
Oh, by the side, look at this. Tower dive it is for Pahang, goes all the way to the back, unleash the Hound, gets a double kill, and that is what happens when you unleash the Yang Jan.
Yeah, it is just out of control right now for the side of Brunei. There's just not a single point of time that they are ready to also look for a certain contest to try to establish a little bit of more of the hole inside their jungle. That they're losing so much value in economy at the moment. Top side also getting breached already. There's not a way to actually stop this takedown as they go in for the 1v1.
Oh, that's going to be a 1v1. The Dharma comes in. Look at the amount of damage onto the Elaine. Elaine is still able to step away though. He does have the Death at Sunset, but he's not popping that yet. He might want to use it right now, but a little bit too late. He has taken out. Knocked up by the Koi. Nowhere to go. Immediately goes back down.
Perfect tidal waves, and now they're just channeling whatever they can just to try to hold firm. But yet again, Adam Strong is on a killing spree, and they're gonna melt down this turret as well.
Oh, and look at this. 2 heroes that don't really have much physical damage takes down the tower just like that, and now looks like that's the gamer. He's not able to step away in time. No infinite fastness, immediately taken down. Lots of burst damage right now for Pahang as they have a significant level lead. They try to take down the LA, but the LA is able to step away just in time. Pops out the Death at Sunset just to give himself a little bit more time, but his other teammates went down. Now it's only him alone. It's definitely going to be an ace for Pahang. Now it's time for Pahang to wrap things up, but before that, one more, and they will take back game number 1.
That is a sub 10-minute round once again. In 6 minutes, 33 seconds, Pahang show everyone what they're made of, and just like that, they've been able to dominate in the Gorge with this massive victory. First, kudos to Brunei. They did try to formulate a certain response, but I think like the problematic portion of their draft is the kind of difficulty in execution, right? Because you need to layer out all these ultimates all together in order to make a value's worth. But for most part, you can see that it's all disjointed because the rest of Pahang, they don't allow them to even find that space to get those big eruption of the fight, because Adam Strong have always been in the front line dishing out all these hard CC to disrupt them every time they try to approach.
Yeah. And even if, like what you mentioned during the draft, right, Contra, you said that, okay, Elaine is going to be the best tank. And I totally agree with that. But if Elaine is not able to farm, if you look at his items, he only completed his boots, he's still not able to tank as much as he would have liked. So without him enabled as a tank, there's not enough opening for the other players to do pretty much anything. And that's where we see a lot of pickoffs happen across the map. Not only the pickoffs, like towards the very end, even when they try to group up, like nobody's able to tank the damage output by Pahang. And Pahang easily took them out in any engagement.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. And you also have to highlight the impact of Yang on this Yang Gen. I think like this is absolutely iconic. Like you say, like, hey, this guy, he's got the name alongside with the hero. He must be really good at that. And you are pretty darn right, Sir Cloud. I mean, take a look at the damage output. He's been able to easily get all these gold as well as EXP away from Soviet Ghost's red side specifically. I think like he's lost like 3 Crimson Golems in a row. So Brunei didn't really have anything effective going, and therefore I felt like perhaps they kind of greeded out on this composition when they tried to draft, because realistically you can't afford to just have one tank specifically on that lane, because they were not allowed to even farm for that first item. None of their members have been able to complete any items at all. But of course, PHG, Pahang, they just offered chaos all across the field, and just like that, they've dismantled Brunei.
You know what? In the great words of Thanos, balance in all things. So, Brunei, if they were to go for their next game, I would say that something they can work on is the balance in the draft. Like perhaps like if they can swap the Yaria to a more tanky, beefy sort of hero to try to give a bit more protection to the farm laner. And when it comes to the mid-stage game, is able to engage. That will give the team or the draft a little bit more balance. So perhaps like a Zhang Fei can be considered, or maybe like a Lampo can be considered, because it's entirely open. It wasn't bad at all, and Pahang didn't pick it up. But yeah, the Yaria pick was a little bit kind of off for me. But if they were to change the Yaria into one of those, then I believe that on the draft at least they can do a lot more better.
I certainly agree with that. But then again, we have that kind of argument as well. Like perhaps it's kind of like a comfort pick that they were hoping to get things going. Well, I would say that there is a certain simplicity of what they try to achieve. Like if they could just maybe hop on board with a target, but at the very same time, you don't have all too much of a heavy crowd control to get that lock on target for Bambi to be able to do much more, because I felt like Bambi definitely had that potential in this round, but it wasn't really fully connecting. Aston was doing whatever he could, but you saw how many members were hunting out from Pahang just to pay multiple visits over onto the bottom lane. And that was an absolute struggle for Brunei. I think overall, they just got to find ways to stabilize their early game, and things should be good going for the rest of their group stage run. So hopefully they will be able to pick up the pieces. But here, Pahang picks up a big, massive W to kick off their run. So that kind of settles up Group B's matchup for right this moment. So we still have Group C to go up next. So I'm definitely looking forward to what's currently on the field right now for some of all these players that's been able to perhaps go on their second match already. So they've already got that warm up. There's not much of an excuse. They will be able to formulate better drafts moving forward.
Yeah, but before we head on to our next game, of course, we got to check out who is the MVP for this round. Our producer has been waiting for us for quite a while now. So it's going to be the Young Gen user, Young himself, with a KD of 902, damage taken 24%, damage dealt 31%. I mean, the stats is one thing. The kind of gameplay that they put on the Gorge is also superior. He had a lot of engaging moments. He was able to tank for the team as well when it came to the late game, and he was able to even do a few tower dives. And there was that one time at the bottom that we see him just went all the way, like up until the second tower, or at least in front of the second tower when the first tower was still up. So, but of course, he was enabled by the fact that he was able to get a lot of early pickoffs, and he managed to scale with the itemization that he has got for himself. Hence, he's able to pull out those kind of moves. So, big up to Young Gen, played by Young himself. Without the Dolia, no problem. Still able to put on a good show.
Yeah, I think like it's been incredible so far for the past 2 rounds that we are looking at almost flawless wins coming in from not only Penang but also Pahang in general. Surely there was one takedown over on the course in this round, of course, earned from the side of Brunei, but I don't think that it really is any form of cause of concern for Pahang for the time being. So we'll definitely have to see. We give these teams a little bit of a assessment time because right now we'll go on a short break and then we'll bring you more action here in the ACS Edu Tour Season 4.
Maggi Curry. Puasnya tiada ganti.
Fresh and natural, aromanya special. Cita rasa yang unggul, yeah. Panas atau ice cold. VICO, VICO, yeah. VICO, VICO, yeah. VICO, VICO. Lebih cold, ronda gula kita minum ayo.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our second set here in the ACS Edu Tour Season 4. And this is the In-Season Cup Series. And this tournament is brought to you proudly by Crib Malaysia and also our official partners, official instant noodle Maggie Hot Cup, official smartphone Zacti Nubia, official chocolate malt drink Vico, official game recharge 11, official telco Tune Talk, and also supported by Malaysia Esports Federation, MESF, and also Impact Integrated. We're still here with you as your storytellers. My name is Sir Cloud together with the amazing Contra, and we are getting ready for our third match today.
That's right, and so far it's been a very clear-cut victory for Pahang as well as Pulau Pinang winning in their respective groups. Meanwhile, we're going to be locked and loaded for even more to come, and I believe right now we do have an inter-regional battle as Indonesia will take on the federal territories of Kuala Lumpur in this round. And once again, this is played in a group stage best-of-1 format. So they got to earn those points in order for them to get into the top 4 for tomorrow.
Yep. And these two teams are from Group C. So it's also the first time that we will see Group C. Well, with 5 matches to be played, only the matches in Group A will be repeated on our broadcast. Every other match is going to be played off stream. Now, coming into our draft, looks like power drafts or power bands here. Young Gen is out, Dharma is out, even Amai and Luna is out as well. But power picks are also available, and both sides will prioritize those heroes. Pei will be picked up by Indonesia too, and Kuala Lumpur will pick up Zhangfei and Arlie. Hot picks.
Yeah, I really do like the opening. It's already telling you that these players, they really want to go for a great ramp up from the side of Indonesia too. Meanwhile, WPKL, they are looking to have that kind of steady laning phase for this Arlie to scale up online. And take a look at this. It's going to be a Xiao Xiao up in the mid lane, so she does actually offer plenty of all this one-shot kind of burst if they were not careful in their position. So this is meant to be locked onto that early, so they gotta be playing close attention. But KL, they're picking up the Jing, and this is the hardest hero to play out, and I'm looking forward to what they can bring in the Gorge.
Yeah, and they can pick up the Jing because they already have a Zhang Fei. They will play the type of big bruiser, type of engager sort of hero as a front line. So they can enable the jungler, which is a Jing, to dish out damage or even become the finisher as well, together with especially with the mirror domain. It opens up a AoE sort of damage when they open up a fight. And the fight can be opened with the Unbridled Outburst by the Zhang Fei. Of course, so far, the first 3 picks from Kuala Lumpur, I do like it, but now it's up to Indonesia on what are they going to ban next. And they're going to focus pretty simply onto mid laners. The Ganimo is out, the Yixing is out, also another power pick, because the Yixing will provide a lot of control in a team fight, and it's best combo together with the Zhang Fei, so they don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, and what's currently lacking from the side of Indonesia too, which is Real University, is a solid front line. Overall, WPKL, they're definitely considering a lot of all these options, and I would say that it's generally okay to go for the Dune as well, to have maybe a little bit more of that easy engage tool, but instead, they're considering other options, that Arthur is also being considered at the very same time. But take a look at this. Indonesia, they're looking to look for perhaps a potential Lee Sin, and this could potentially be that kind of split push that they're going to be aiming for, so that you can possibly have up, because as a Jing, as much as you have a lot of all these assassination potential, if you consistently have like a shoving lane, that's going to be a little hard to do. But they're going to be switching up to the options of potentially this on you. Do you think that this is going to be paying dividendly, because they already have maybe a big stun coming out of that Burning Sun arrow if they do lock in that OE?
Well, but looks like they're not going to go for the Guan Yu. They're going to go for the Arthur instead. I thought that the Guan Yu would have been a better pick, because you can still poke from the back line, and you can find Arlie. Although Arlie is also one of those tricky heroes that is hard to catch, but at least it's a Guan Yu, right? So you still can like kind of push Arlie in a off position. And the final pick, I noticed that there was a Yuhuan as well being picked up by KL. So the Yuhuan is going to play a mid Yuhuan, because the Rome is going to be played by the Zhang Fei. So being a mid Yuhuan means that the player, Price, who's a mid laner for KL, is able to scale to level 4 quicker than a typical Rome sort of Yuhuan, allowing him to just dive in onto heroes as early as possible.
Yeah, I definitely do like the ideation as well. When you have that Yuhuan, you're also allowed to have plenty of all these sustainability in the form of shields, so that you can have this Jing dancing for much longer on those mirror domain. And of course, we shall wait no longer as we dive right into the Gorge once more. So, talk me through. I mean, WPKL, they've probably had a couple of players who have definitely seen semi-professional play, and I believe they do represent Targ UMT. Perhaps you could actually ring in like some of their past achievements as well.
Yeah, so they were the champions of Kuala Lumpur during the ACS series. So no doubt they are the best to represent their state, and they're showing it through their draft as well. Now, when it comes to execution, we can see that WPKL, they are playing it very, very aggressively. Going into the jungle, taking away resources from Indonesia too, just choking them off those potential farm. And because of that, at the very beginning, just below 1 minute, they're already 400 gold ahead.
Yeah, and yeah, he also managed to steal away that Azure Golem from the get-go. So this absolutely starves out Shifu, who is still currently sitting at level 2. Finally hits level 3, but Jie is already so far ahead in the form of resources at the meantime. As they continuously try to bring the fight, perhaps we might actually see an early first blood, but so far, Light's doing a really good job to really hold down the line to keep everything afloat for Indonesia too.
Well, I like the fact that Indonesia too, they are responding back as well, right? They're not sitting passively in their own jungle, just doing their own thing. Like, they still try to play by the river, to try to block off those entrances, not allow WPKL to come in. And that's something that they quickly adapted for the fact that WPKL did that very, very early at this game. Now, looking
Yeah,
at the Riverside, we might see a jump in here.
True enough, but there's also a responding kind coming from side of Vormir as they try to hold down the line. They've been able to deny a massive lead coming from WPKL, but once again, they lose out on all these armored tail bees, and once more, Azure Golem denied from the hands of Shifu again.
Oh, and Mirror Domain used, and that will be a steal. 2 Azure Golems onto the hands of WPKL, and Indonesia too. They were not able to get their second Azure Golem. It looks like a WPKL now they're interested to take the fight down south. Let's see, will they go in for it? Because Hen, he does have the Unbridled Outburst. He can start with an engagement, but if he were to do that, he would need his teammates together with him, and his teammates are interested in farming instead.
Yeah, and overall, how does this actually impact Real University in that sense? As a pay, you really want to get up ahead, get those items up online quickly, and by doing so, you deny so much of all these heavy loss in goal. Spark Forge dagger already completed from CCS, and they look for a fight.
And here comes the rest of them. First blood with the Mirror Domain given to WPKL. And it will continue on the fight. It's going to be a 2v1 at the front line. They will easily take down the tag, which is Arthur. Double kill will be given away to Jie. Although they lost hand, it does not mean they will stop fighting.
Yeah, that perfect timing on that Unbridled Outburst have a couple of all these members being locked into that sticky position. As much as they did manage to exchange for one, that's a 3 takedown in a row, and now they're also trying to trade back to Catalina going down, but that was a close call on an attempt to take on Fries.
And so that's another kill given to WPKL. And now WPKL, they're gathering in the middle. This might be another jungle invasion. They want to take out the Azure Golem. Again, Mirror Domain, this time catching 2 inside of it. But they will target the key hero Pei. Shifu is down.
And the entire blue side of the jungle for Indonesia is getting raided every single moment. This is just bad news all around. And just like that, you're only looking at a potential 5k goal lead for the side of WPKL. This 3-man roam has been so effective for Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah, they've been moving across the map together. Like what you said, and now they're going to put focus onto the middle. This could be big trouble here for Burstin. Burstin has to back off though, but he stayed on the lane just to be punished by Jie. This is an assassin that you don't want to mess with.
Not at all. You can see how difficult it is to even find a way to lock onto that Jing. She's just dancing all around in the field at this moment, and potentially that could be another big setup for a dive. And Indonesia, they can only give way with this turret to be taken in the favor of WPKL once more. And this time around, you can see that the objectives, the Tyrant as well as Overlord is up, but WPKL, they are looking to continue with this pressure. Even the top side, you have a free reign on that Byron to consistently seize even more control over the map.
And based on the itemizations, at some point WPKL will need to go for a Venomous Staff or a Blazing Cape anti-heal items, because you're going up against light that provides a lot of healing towards the team. But here comes the Unbridled Outburst from the side, pushing them in. And now WPKL, their first objective is to try to take down the tower, and they will take down that tower, but still, the fight will continue on. WPKL, they dive in. It's only live together with Catalina right now. Only 2 heroes. What are they going to do right now? Going up against the 5 heroes of WPKL, and looks like they will want to end this game below 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 55 seconds to be exact, and WPKL takes the win.
555 is the golden number, and so far we've seen massive victories from our Malaysian representatives. WP Kuala Lumpur have been able to just absolutely stomp out their opponents, as Real University will have to go back to the drawing board. I think like they have the right ideas in the draft. It's just that they could not find a way to deal with this multiple invades coming from the Jing, coming in from the Zhangfei. It was just too overwhelming.
Yeah, just strong invades as well from WPKL from the get-go. They went in, and I believe they took every single Azure Golem from the hands of Indonesia too. So it was really tough for Indonesia too, with the fact that you're not able to secure your buffs. The jungler would have a really hard time to farm to a certain stage where he's able to engage back.
Yeah, and I think this is definitely the answer of how you deal with the pay. Don't let that pay get activated. So it definitely was a struggle to really get things done. There was that fight that break loose in the Crimson Goal on Indonesia's side, and as much as that was exchanges being fired, it was WPKL that comes up ahead, and you saw Jay was in such a dominant form, being the MVP of the round with 5 kills secured in this match.
Yeah, and WPKL did not even consider, or maybe they considered, but they didn't even buy any anti-heal items at all. No Venomous Staff, no Blazing Cape, because they knew by that time they're able to wrap things up. So true enough, they just went bruising all the way for WPKL, and it's just S all over WPKL by the system. Now, if we were to look at like some of these other stats as well, pretty standard stats if you ask me. Like for Indonesia 2, if you're a mage, the chances of you dealing the most damage is there, and that's Verstin. So based on these numbers, Verstin did what he could.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he actually did quite a significant number. If you actually compare it to WPKL, it was more of like a team effort altogether, where it's equal distribution from all across the board. Whereas I'm kind of concerned about Shifu, right? As much as he's being put behind, there was no retaliation coming from Shifu whatsoever, because sure, his items are behind, but that does not kind of disallow you from going for trades, because he's only done 9,000. Whereas you compare to the Zhuangzi, he's actually almost double that number if you prolong it for another minute. So that definitely is something that they kind of need to work on, as much as this pay probably had some tilting incident in this match.
Yeah, he didn't have a good time, for sure. I mean, just look at his damage output, right? It's only 9%. It just shows that he was not able to scale. Well, yeah, even the support has more damage output than him, because like what you said, right? If you're denied away your jungle resources, as a jungler, you're pretty much not able to do much. If you want to trade off by like, okay, I go to the lanes and get the farm from the lanes, then you're going to deprive like maybe your farm laner or even your clash laner from farm. So it's a pretty tough call. If honestly, if I was Shifu, it was a tough call on. I don't know where else to farm or what else to do from there.
Yeah, I think like the side of Real University have definitely invested in countermeasures, trying to at least have a few more players to be roaming. You saw even in the early invades, they've tried to formulate responses to try to steer this Jing away, but it doesn't seem like it was effective enough, because you take a look at the kit altogether. Zhuangzi, you do have like good sustain for your teammates, but you don't really have a stun. And there was just no solution to this Jing pickup, which was pretty hard for them to solve, other than Verstin, who maybe lands that kind of skill shot in order to knock up that Jing up in the air. But the chances are this Jing is just gonna pop that mirror domain and just dance all around, and that's kind of what it was. So WPKL, they earned this successful victory, and we're looking forward into the next upcoming battle.
But before we go to the next upcoming battle, we're going to check out who the MVP is. And out of all these players, it's going to be the Jing that is played by Jie with a clean KDA of 503. And it's also because of him that they're able to do the jungle invade. I mean, if your jungler is not in line with the idea of like, okay, let's go in, guys, it's also difficult to do the jungle invade, right? But because of Jay, he is also in with the idea of like, let's go in, let's try to steal away those buffs. It all worked out for WPKL and Jay.
Yeah, and he's always being backed up by their support, right? Where you have this Zhang Fei to also be the kind of escape tool if things get a little bit hairier. So Jay kind of had that free reign of control where you could just move in and out, already having such high mobility on that Jing. So far it was played out to perfection for the side of Wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur in essence. So that being said, I think like, of course, this currently will be WPKL currently leading their respective group from maybe perhaps some of the conversations we do check in with the production during the break. So right now they're definitely looking very poised to top that Group C. Group D, that's something for us to figure out a little later on. But how are you liking some of the matches so far? Because I feel like everybody is trying to set like a new world record. Like how fast can they actually finish the run? First we had like perhaps around 7 minutes, and the second game it was like 6 minutes and a half, and now this is sub 6 minutes. 555 is currently the number to beat, and that's coming from the WPKF.
Yeah, and those teams that actually won big, right? What I do like is that if we were to look at the draft, it's solid, right? They know how to like play the psychological of the draft, like okay, what kind of flex picks to put in first, and then they know how to just put their draft up as the final draft to be like, okay, this is a solid draft. You would have everything. You would have a tank that's in front. You would have an engager. You would have a damage output. You have crowd control and so on and so forth. So I do like what I see from the teams that won. Of course, for the teams that didn't win, well, it's also a learning curve, right? And because it's still the group stages, so they will still have the chance of making a comeback in their respective upcoming matches as well. So don't be surprised, even though if we see them on our broadcast, they did not win, but they might come up in our playoffs tomorrow.
Yeah, true enough. And speaking of which, of course, we kind of want to take a look at the bracket to also see what's going to be the upcoming match into the Group D lineup, because overall we haven't got to witness any form of the action. But of course, it'll be great to also see what exactly are the results, but we'll keep you guys up to speed with that. So far, we're going to be moving into Group D later on, which involves Philippines, Indonesia, and of course the states of Malaysia. That includes Sabah, Selangor, as well as Terengganu. I definitely do think that Selangor is a very good prospect moving into this field of stack. Would you say that Group D is group of death because you have both Indonesia, Philippines to also be involved, and Selangor probably put up a really strong front in this group?
It's an interesting group, right? Because that's the only group where you have like also regional rivalry within it, right? Like the Philippines and Indonesia, even if you talk about like traditional sports, like these countries are always comparing with each other. So Group D, I would say, is pretty interesting, I must say. But to answer your question on will Selangor actually be the one that comes out from the group? Well, let's watch their game later on, and probably we'll have a better idea. But now we're going to focus on to Indonesia 1 versus Pulau Pinang again. We've seen Pulau Pinang in game number 1 earlier today, and they were the team that won 19-0. No deaths given away at all in their first game.
Yeah, they've been able to pull out that perfect record, but now they're going up against IPB University of Indonesia, which are the champions of KCS Season 1 and also the champions of HOK Campus Attack. So I think this is going to be a fair fight between the two, but I really want to see if Pulau Pinang can continuously bring in a certain streak. Well, of course, don't worry about that flag switch coming in from that state, because right now it just further confirms that Penang is going to start off on the blue side. So let's talk a little bit about drafting, right? Where you have seen this before from Penang, that they always open with this Yuan, giving them flexibility, and Hank decides, okay, we're just going to lock in that Clash Lane staple with, of course, the Dharma now being online alongside with the Diadia. So now, is this going to be a consideration that they move this Yuan into the mid lane instead of that support role?
Oh, I like your question though. It's a tricky one. Based on what we have seen on the broadcast, this is a support Yuan. But like what you said, right? Even if they want to switch it up to like, joke's on you, it's actually a mid Yuan, they can absolutely do that. So this is where the draft comes in, right? Like if you're Indonesia 1, like on the second phase ban, the bans that they're doing right now, they will be thinking to themselves that, okay, do we want to ban mid heroes or do we want to ban like support heroes? But if you don't want to think too much, you just focus on to banning Clash Lane heroes, because that's definitely something that Penang does not have yet.
Yeah, I think like that definitely is a better kind of way to double down, especially when you have an ease of priority to just snowball up ahead as this Dharma. So he could actually go in for maybe some objective control if you could just get ways to teleport across the lane to really assist in that essence. This might actually be something that's worthy for Indonesia to pull off. But moving into the second phase, Mayin banned out, Byron banned out. They just basically listen to exactly what you said. Like, if you are uncertain on what to go for the mid or support, you might as well just eliminate all these big picks coming in from the class.
Yep, but we still have a good amount of big clash laners to be picked up as well. Like the Guan Yu is open, so that could be a pick. If they want to go kind of like cheeky, they can probably go for like a Sun Tzu, so that you can like emotional damage your opponents with the set sail. Because when you open the set sail, there is a
this
small
audio,
moment
right?
where you can see it, but at some point you can't. So you don't know like when is it gonna come? When?
Yeah, and to me, like playing with a Sun Tzu in the map, it always is a little bit more tricky to navigate around because when you hear the horn, da-dung, everyone starts dodging naturally, So I think like what you said, emotional damage was absolutely spot on. But moving into the second phase, we're actually looking at a Nua pickup to also match up to the Yixing. I kind of like this kind of back and forth trade from long ranges coming in from both. But Indonesia is actually really strong on teamfight. I mean, on paper right now, you got all these big AoEs with the world is my board on top of that truth mantra. I'm kind of liking where this is going, but they are also looking to double down on that damage department with the final pickup of that pay. Do you think that this is going to be the answer? Because Penang, they also found a counter of their own. You got an Arlie? Sure. We're going to have this Fateh chase you down.
Yeah, Pate is definitely a strong chaser, bruiser type of hero, right? That can really chase out. Even though if you're an RD and you can just like zip zap across the map with your umbrella, but the Pate is still able to chase. But coming back to your question on like whether the pay is a good answer to the draft of Penang, I honestly don't prefer the pay. I would have preferred a tank jungler instead. Maybe like a Dune that's able to engage, or at the very least an Agudo that's able to open up fights. Because Pei is more of like a pick-off sort of fighter heroes that just chase heroes down. Not really the type that engages with a big crowd control sort of a skill. As compared to the Mankey has a Dream Roam and is able to engage with the Dream Roam in front, catch maybe 2 or 3 heroes at the same time. So what's lacking right now with Indonesia is that they don't really have that. They are banking all in onto the Dharma to make those plays.
Yeah, and I think like we really have to set focus onto Hank as the major front line for the side of Indonesia. And much as you mentioned, they should have actually went for a lot of all these tank options in the jungle. I think a lot of all these options were actually banned out by Penang because last I checked it was like an Ogren ban alongside with that Aguda that you mentioned, and this could potentially be first blood. Pressure already set over the side of goal, and just like that, they ensure that Hang gets that easy control up in the lane.
Okay, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Indonesia one. But however, they committed like 5 or 4 heroes towards the top. They didn't really get much, but they still get the buff, which is absolutely fine, right? So Indonesia one is basically playing almost the same style as WPKL. You gotta think about it.
Yeah, and to respond to that, Penang chooses to go for that vertical jungle. Okay, you take my blue buff, I'm gonna take yours instead. So I think like this is just this great read coming from both ends of the field. While they have this mid lane trade out, overall big long range targets coming out. Dido definitely have shown us what he's capable of over mid lane for the past round when he was playing that Mai Shiranui. This is going to be a little bit different in terms of tempo, where Dido is going to look to poke out, and if there's going to be opportunity, there's going to be a certain instance where he can just push out that wave and look for a TP flank onto the side lanes.
You know what, Contra? Indonesia one actually took their own blue buff as well. So Penang was not able to steal that one away. We're going to see the world is my board here, and One player, DRNJ, XY, caught inside of it, nowhere to go, nowhere to hide, and will be taken out. First blood will be given to Indonesia 1. I'm really liking what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, just great tempo build up from the side of Indonesia 1. And this is the reason why they've been the champions of KCS as well as HOK Campus Attack back in their own region. Meanwhile, a little bit of trading back and forth. I don't think that there's too much of a action-packed commotion over onto the Clash lane, but instead, he's gonna go in for the full offense and now finds himself in a pickle. But the damage output from this Fateh was immense to bring 3 members so low.
Okay, the annihilation was a little bit off. If it hit his target, it could have been a double kill, but it's okay. As long as you're able to push away your opponents, you balance out the map again, you balance out the goal difference, that's cool. Because if we look at the goal difference right now, there's not much between them. 1-200, that's okay. One wave, you're able to balance it back up again. So these two teams, they are very, very close right now.
Yeah, indeed, especially Goal on that performance. The moment that he pops that Sacred Tree Blessing, all these members are just going to turn tails and run because they know that this Fateh has incredible sustain, incredible DPS once that ult is being activated. Meanwhile, we saw a little bit of a switcheroo. Now, Feng tries to double down as they are trying to take a little bit of that plating over onto that tower. But so far, Indonesia, they're holding firm. And as much as we see those kind of drawbacks in the jungle, I think Penang, they're holding firm and they're not too far off. It's only a couple hundreds right now to separate them. And Hank has already completed his first item to be a defensive one at that.
Okay, we might see a gold swing here at the Tyrant in about 10 more seconds. But before that, Indonesia 1, what they're doing right now is that they're just trying to zone out the players of Penang, setting themselves up for the Tyrant. Very smart move if you ask me. And now that the Tyrant is up, it's up to Penang right now to see how they're going to engage this one. They do have the Dream Roam though, and Dream Roam will be executed at the very front line, onto the Pei, and the Pei will be able to escape. But at the same time, the Yixing as well, Silver, survives somehow with the Slither of Health.
He managed to pop his passive and flash away in the nick of time for his teammates to bail him out, and now it's 2-0 up for Indonesia, but they did lose the Tyrant in the process to the hands of Penang. They're still hoping to hold down the line, but there is so much pressure down bottom lane.
Ooh, too much pressure that they have to leave the bottom lane, and now the tower will be taken out by Penang. No kills, but at least they got the tower. Objective secured. At the top, on the other hand, Hank is not able to get the tower for himself as a trade-off, but that's okay. As a Clash laner, if you still have another Clash laner in front of you, it's more of like you going back and forth with your opponent.
Yeah, I managed to spot on the mini-map that Dido, he TP'd in the nick of time to catch out Barong hiding in that brush. And just like that, it earns the very first pick for the side of Pulau Pinang. But Penang, they're looking for a little bit more because that Dream Roam is going to be up online real soon if they really want to look for a dive. But now it's going to be a little bit dangerous. The rest of Indonesia reconvenes as they now send all 4 members up the mid lane.
Yeah, Penang has to be careful of the World is my board. That skill is able to open up a fight, able to open up the engagement for Indonesia. And the moment he opens up that board, they better be ready to flash out. But Hank, all alone at the top, he probably has to let this tower go. By the bottom, looks like they're going to go all in onto Clo. The Menki goes down.
Yeah, meanwhile, Hank soaking the pressure. It's going to be a 4 versus 1 situation on both sides, the top lane as well as the bottom. But Penang, they're a little bit swifter in that process in order to actually secure that. But Indonesia, they're already working down the tier 2, and they will still be up ahead. And now they get that access into the Crimson Golem buff. This is going to be devastating. Penang has to double down onto that commitment up top.
Oh, but Silver has to be extra careful there. You don't want to be caught by the DRNJ and also the Moonful Temple of Fang. And he managed to stay safe underneath the tower, and he'll be okay for now. Now, Beruang is looking for his next engagement. He's at the middle. And they're setting up right now for Penang, but Penang sniffed it out, and they're going to back up for now, but looks like they're going to engage for themselves. Annihilation all the way to the back line. Very low health for Wintek. Now Wintek needs his teammates, and then we got XY, the big damage dealer, down.
And that was such a common composed play coming from the side of Silver. You saw he was being shot by the Annihilation, but he responded back with a perfectly timed board, locking out XY in that process. And wow, I've not really seen so many of all these mid laners to be able to just convert just like that. But Indonesia, they're definitely keeping up with their momentum. And Penang, they're kind of finding it hard to also keep up with this current tempo that Indonesia has. But now it seems like that streak of Penang's wins might actually be broken here, with Indonesia really fighting hard. Now, the next point of contest potentially could be this Overlord up online, which is the reason why you are looking at 3 members from the side of Penang holding over onto this corner, but they spot out the initiation and they go for a dive.
Oh, and they stole it away! And it looks like Penang, Dido, managed to lock in the Overlord just at the nick of time. And now they will put the pressure back onto Indonesia.
And they just read them like a book. They know that they're going to move in for that take over onto the Overlord, but it was only the pay inside the pit. And just like that, the Annihilation not only catches them, steals away that really, really crucial buff, and Penang is now back in the game.
Oh, and now we control over the jungle side. Another Annihilation onto the back. Look at the damage output onto Silver. Silver has no choice but to back out. But Penang, they will take the fight further forward with Klo coming into tank. And now Klo, if we look at him, he's really, really tanky right now. Indonesia cannot target onto him. Beruang takes a lot of damage down to the Tastic Compel. No Annihilation to take him out. He's still alright. But here comes the engagement from the pay. Dajin absorbs the damage, but his other teammates went down together with him as well right now. Penang dominating the mid lane.
Wow, the sustain coming from Fern kept them alive for most part, and now Silver, he's out of his formation, and he will be caught out.
There you go. Only one player left. That's going to be Beruang, the Dia. There's nothing much he can do. And all he can do right now is just to watch as his tower will crumble down to the ground, including himself as well. Tower down, Indonesia, few of their players back out again. But Penang, they chose to pull the break, and now they will reset back into the jungle.
It's just crazy how Penang pulls off such a great turnaround. It started off with that Overlord steal, and then after that, they just kept fighting and fighting. They trusted Feng to be able to keep them all afloat, and just like that, they just pile up that pressure, and eventually, you saw that crack from the side of IPBE. I mean, IPB University, they've been able to try to look for those kind of opportunities, but you saw the damage output was immense, where not only you need to deal with Dildo, but there's always go to be looking for that flank as well. Right now, there's not much that can be done about this Tyrant. Indonesia has to let this one slide. Overall, they just want to look to stabilize. Perhaps that Shadow Overlord can be the answer.
They're still going in for Hank though. Okay, but they pulled the break there. Okay, no commitment by Penang, so that's alright. But before going for the Tyrant, they will take the buff. And looks like they're going for the zoning of Indonesia. Is anyone going for the Tyrant? Okay, XY is going for it.
Yeah, they just really have to play this kind of control tempo for the side of Penang. And overall, they definitely have all these kind of ideals being checked out as well, because the major front line for the side of IPBE is actually the Dharma, and overall they've been able to put that Dharma slightly behind. He's also going for a little bit more of that bruiser build as well, so it definitely is going to be a little cause of concern in the early late game, but let's go! Picked off!
And here comes the World is my board as well. But then again, nobody's caught within it. Still Indonesia, they will try to fight back. Annihilation from afar deals a lot of damage to the players of Indonesia. And here comes all the way from the back. It's going to be Dino with a kill. And the chase as well by Claw, splitting Indonesia into 2 different halves. That is the divide and conquer strategy by Penang that they have deployed. Now with the fact that the minions have arrived, Indonesia, nothing much that they can do. And Penang will still remain strong, and they will bring this win home.
It almost was a perfect seal with an ace, but of course, that 4 takedowns, that switch up as they set that bait, hoping that these members of Indonesia will be going for that face check into that Shadow Overlord. Was that perfect call, and you saw how well they set them up, like you said, splitting the fight into two, and with all these isolated targets, you can once again see that Nua take reign throughout the map and even finish off the final kill with a TP. How cool was that? Penang still remains strong as they are getting themselves another victory in the bag, but that was one hard-fought battle. I'm pretty sure a couple of sweat have been broken in this game itself.
Yeah, that was the tightest fight that we have seen here today. I'm sure the towels are all wet right now. But looking here at the scores, okay, Dido, perfect game for him, 408. I mean, he stood away from danger because he is a Nua, and for the most part, his role is just to spam his creation everywhere just to annoy the players of Indonesia. One, and also dealing the damage with the annihilation as well, all the way from downtown. He definitely did his work there. And while he was doing that, he managed to score 4 eliminations at the same time. And I do like the builds from Penang as well. If you talk about like anti-heal, because you have a Dia, you have at least 2 options, right? You have the Blazing Cape by Claw, you have the Venomous Staff by Dido. That's good enough to stop or minimize the amount of heal potential from Indonesia.
Yeah, I definitely think that the sustain matters a whole lot. You saw how well they've been able to prolong the fight, that really extends the control for the side of Penang, especially when they've been able to stash away that Overlord. That steal, once again, was golden from the side of Dodo, and I believe he should be the MVP of the match. I mean, not only with a perfect KDA, in the form of execution as well, it's always very risky when you pick up that Nua because you expect players to jump at you. And overall, he's been able to keep himself safe for the most part. On top of that, I would say that IPBE, they played very, very well throughout the span of round. That you see a great coverage for the early, and even when it comes down to the way that they read the map, they're the ones being proactive. They're the ones who started with the Azure Golem rate in the early span of round. And Penang, they always look for that countermeasure. They just went in, tried to also rate the other side, and eventually that truce was being broken in the mid game. So of course, without further ado, let's reveal to you the MVP of this round, and it's gonna be none other than Dodo from Penang.
Absolute perfection, right? I mean, the KDA of 408 with that amount of damage down, but the highlight number for me is that look at his damage taken. Only 5%. Dude, even by tax is higher than that.
Wow, we're going to taxes now, huh? Okay, yeah, fair enough, but because we're being taxed like at least a bare minimum 6% here. Of course, we don't want to dive into details much, but overall, if they look this good during the group stages, I definitely do think Penang are hot favorites right now to top the groups. I mean, they fought such a difficult opponent. IPB University, they were actually onto something. I think like draft-wise, it was really smart. I think like maybe what you've mentioned early on, when you pick up that pay, that also means that you are gonna cut. You have the cons of not having the best frontline hold, but you saw the aggression was there. They were just rotating, everybody juggling the damage output, and they've been able to hold on, but it becomes too hard to bear when you still have that U1 that has been keeping everybody afloat.
Yep, but you know what else is keeping us afloat? It's the time to breathe, ladies and gentlemen. So we're gonna go for a short break this time because we have one more match to go for tonight in our group stages. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna take a short break. We'll see you guys after this.
Maggie Curry. Puasnya tiada ganti.
fresh and natural. Aromanya special. Cita rasa yang unggul, yeah. Panas atau ice cold. VICO, VICO, yeah. VICO, VICO, yeah. VICO, VICO. Lebih cold, ronda gula kita minum ayo.
VICO, Rico.
And now we're down to our final game of the night. Thank you so much for tuning in to the ACS Edu Tour Season 4. And now this could conclude our run here in the group stages. And tomorrow we'll be joined by our top 4 of the finest teams all across the groups. Of course, my name is Contra, here alongside with Sir Cloud. It's been fantastic what we've gotten to witness in that epic brawl between Indonesia and also Pulau Pilang in that last round. So now down to the very final game. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be equally as spicy.
Oh yeah, because our final game here, of course, it's the last game, right? We want to see a spicy one. We want to see a tight match. Arguably, we want to see an even tighter match as compared to the one just before this. So hopefully we get to see one because it's the last game before we head on to the playoffs tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. And this game could determine as well who might move into the next stage. But to introduce to you the teams that will be playing coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, it will be these teams. And drum roll.
Philippines versus Indonesia for our very final matchup. And you know, like I was expecting real drum rolls coming from you for a little bit, which is why I waited for a little bit. But hey, I think like things are definitely looking pretty good. So this is gonna be Indonesia 3 versus the Philippines, and so far I think Indonesia, they're sending so many great varsity representatives, and I think like right now they'll be going up against the best from the Philippines here in the ACS Edu Tour in-season cup. So I definitely think that there's a lot of regional pride on the line when it comes down to this duel. And so far, I think Indonesia, they're always so close to its victory. Perhaps they might be able to find one, but the Philippines, they are champions for a reason in their recent run in the previous tournaments. And once more, we will show you guys the teams that are participating across the group stages. This will be the conclusion for this side of Group D in this matchup as Philippines take on Indonesia 3.
Yeah, and those two teams, or the two teams that we'll be seeing after this, they're from the group of death, so to speak, like what you mentioned earlier on, within Group D, together with Sabah, Selangor, and also Terengganu. Now, we don't have a full overview of how the groups are at right now because the games are still running. But of course, if you want to check out like the full result and listing, do stay tuned to us by the end of the show. If not, don't forget to follow the social medias of Crit Esports Malaysia as well, because all the updates will be there too. Now we're going to focus on to Indonesia 3 and Philippines. But so we have not seen these two teams play yet. But from what we have seen from the previous match where Indonesia 2 played, they did put up a very good fight. So we can expect this to be a tight one as well.
Yeah, certainly so. And looking at the standings so far, I think the Philippines is in a very healthy state as well. Indonesia, I've heard from, the back end where they've had a very long, grueling 20-over-minute battle up against Sabah. And unfortunately, towards that late game, Indonesia kind of dropped out the very final moment in the final team fight. So that being said, though, they are set on a back foot, but they are absolutely warmed up throughout the battle. So perhaps they will be vying for better opportunities up against the Philippines right at this moment here to try to seal that spot for the number 1 seed coming into Group D. So speaking of all these groups so far, I think like we've definitely got Pulau Pinang in Group A to be leading the pack. But in Group C, I do believe that WPKL is definitely looking to be a very worthy contender to be looking for that number one spot out of Group C as well. But what about Group B? That one doesn't seem like it's going to be all too cooked up because Bahang definitely have shown some really good signs of life. But what about Kelantan Perlis as well as Negeri Sembilan Brunei? They did drop out a game, so I'm not too sure where exactly will they sit. So there's a whole lot to figure out, but they're absolutely playing for big prizes on the line.
Oh yeah, the prize is big. Within these 2 days, they could potentially win 5,000 ringgit, which is the first prize out of the 10,000 ringgit prize pool. Second place will take home 3,000 ringgit. Third place will be 1,500 ringgit, and fourth place will be 500 ringgit. So because it's the top four, right? Basically, if you're able to move on to the playoffs, you're already guaranteed cash money in hand. It's just a matter of how much by then. But if you see, the incremental is actually quite significant. From 400 to 1,500, that's huge. That's like 1,000 ringgit difference. And then you double that money up to 3,000 at second place. And then you put in 2,000 ringgit to 5,000 ringgit in the first place. So that's a lot of money on the line.
True enough, especially when you think about it, it could be great for anything that they use back in their university. I mean, that could absolutely help in their current semester as well. If you end up at first spot, everybody gets to share that a big prize of 5,000, meaning to say each player walks away with 1,000 in the form of cash for each respective player. How cool is that? If I were maybe 10 years younger, I would absolutely consider participating, but I'm afraid that I am not of the age bracket to still be in university right now.
Hey, but if I am 10 years younger and I participate and I score any of these prizes, you know what's the first thing that I will spend on?
What's that?
A good bag of Vico.
Oh, wow. And of course, that is our official chocolate malt drink partners in this entire season. So huge shout out to them alongside with all of our dear partners as well. So moving along, we do have our final match of the evening. And tomorrow we'll be offering a whole lot more. It is Indonesia 3 to take on the Philippines.
Okay, can't wait to see how will they perform. Of course, this will be the last match as well for today before we determine who will move on to the playoffs by the end of this session. Now, coming into the draft for the best of one series game, looks like we're going to see a Dolia for the first time on our broadcast being picked up. And there are a lot of options that Dolia can combo with the fact that the Long is out. You can still combo with the picking up the Yixing or maybe even the Young Gen, or if they want to go a bit old school, they can go for the Elaine. But because the Philippines, they read that, they took the Young Gen for themselves.
Yeah, I think like this is pretty smart of a pickup coming from the Philippines, where they not only have great sustain in the form of their jungler, we've also seen Yang Gen as a clash laner as well. So it's kind of flexible on where they really want to park this Yang Gen. But Indonesia 3, they say, you know what, you're picking something that's immobile up in the mid lane. They're gonna show off what their Shangguan is gonna be made of. And what I also like about this DRNJ is that if you do get that refresh, then you're essentially giving 2 point-and-click stuns on that ultimate for them to try to dish out maximum catching potential coming out of Indonesia. But there is definitely answers to that, because they are now answering back with that Luna, as it was allowed through the ban phases overall.
Yeah, so if you have a Luna, then you need ideally a single target lockdown, right? But with the fact that Indonesia, they have picked the Shangguan. Shangguan is more of like a burst hero. Yes, it can combo with the Dolia to get double finishing strokes, so that's fine. But that also means that based on the mid laner that they have picked, they don't have a mid laner that is like a single target sort of a hero like a Daji, for example, to stun the Luna, to stop the Luna from going around team fights and just wrecking havoc onto the backline especially. So they need to think of a type of hero that can kind of do that as well. Maybe if they want to give a bit more protection to the DRNJ, right? They could probably go for like a Dune that can play a little bit more passive as well. in case that the Luna actually goes for the backline directly.
Yeah, I definitely do like the idea that you've mentioned. Dune could come in pretty handy, especially when you need to have something that soaks the damage coming in from the Luna and at the very same time has just about enough crowd control to actually hold true. But Indonesia, they are the ones that actually ban out a lot of all these tank support roles that you said. Lenpo is already out, no Zhang Fei whatsoever. So perhaps there's going to be a different kind of answer that they're looking for. So instead, we got a Flowborn lock right in. Flowborn Marksman is what they're going to be picking up. I think, like, overall, this allows them to continuously have maybe a decent team fight-oriented kind of draft where you have a big setup coming from the Luna, and you just ensure that there's just enough layers coming from the Yangzhen to peel away, and to also react to that, they are going to be looking to answer back by securing that Guan Yu. But is this going to be the kind of way that they really want to go for things? Flowborn over onto the tank is going to be the way that Indonesia wants to go through. So talk to me about this, because in global pick ban, usually you only get one Flowborn, but we're actually seeing two different sides of Flowborn in this match.
Yeah, because one is the Flowborn tank and one is the Flowborn marksman, so you can have that sort of variances. If it's Flowborn tank and Flowborn tank, then you can't. It basically, although the name is like it's Flowborn, but it's treated like a different hero altogether. So yeah, so they can have that sort of combination, and I do like the Flowborn tank last pick as well. I was a little bit worried when they sort of wanted to go for the Fade, because if they went for the Fade, that means they have very little durability, but because of the fact that they had a Flowborn tank, so that's great. Now combined with the Guan Yu, who normally will play the playstyle of like come from behind, Razor Cavalry, Heroic Charge sort of combo, just to push people from the back to the front, just positioning them basically. And then you have the Flowborn tank, who will be that brick wall to protect the marksman. They can basically go for the strategy of like squishing their opponents just like a burger.
Yeah, well, now I'm starting to feel a little bit hungry, but of course we got this final game underway. And, you know, talk to me about Meikyu on this pickup as well, because Mozi support is something that is being dished out from time to time. So what does this realistically do is perhaps you're looking at somebody to absolutely zone out in some of these fights, but mid lane, force the flash out of Meikyu. As I was just about to highlight this Mozi, it seems like they're having such a difficult time in the early span of the match.
Ooh, I wonder if this Moza is going to go for Venomous Staff as a very early item, just to try to cut off or block off the potential heal from Indonesia, especially with the fact that they have a Dolia. The Dolia is now using a healing spell, and also Dolia naturally has healing capabilities as well, so you just want to aim her down with the Cannon Blast, especially after getting the Venomous Staff item, just to cut that healing capability from the Dolia. That could probably be the best function of the Meikyu playing the Moza.
Yeah, that could potentially be the case if you really want to double down on a little bit more of a damage output and continuously poke them from long range. Speaking of getting poked out, UH dangerously low, but he managed to walk away from threat. Meanwhile, the Flowborn is here, knocking up Feng, but there was not enough follow-up from Indonesia to convert that into something substantial.
Yeah, they came close though, they came close. But it's not easy to catch the Guan Yu with the fact that he does have the Heroic Charge, so he can put himself in a safer position. But at the bottom, looks like Punchil might be in trouble, but here comes the backup. They immediately come. Great teleportation all the way down to the bottom, sending X, using the Shangguan as well, a burst damage hero, and they're able to trade back too.
And he just came in with the final stroke in the perfect timing when they were overextending. So UST, they got caught off guard with the arrival of X. And that was just a perfect blow being dealt. Meanwhile, there was also another pickup of a kill from the top side as they now invade the Azure Golem.
Oh, they will go all the way in, and Arrow Storm from behind will not connect at all. A little bit tattoo short, and that will allow Indonesia to bring in their next elimination, taking out Meikyu. Haze was not able to do much, even though if he went in with the Arrow Storm.
Yeah, and then right now he doesn't even have his ultimate up available in that kind of contest for that Azure. That really sets this support pretty far back from the side of the Philippines. So that could be a cause of concern for later on. Especially you talked about that potential of going for those poke. Now he's so behind in the form of gold that you probably want to consider going for a tank Moses instead. So over onto the span of the top lane. We're also looking at the potential invade for this Crimson, as it's going to be that Guan Yu hopping right in, looking for steal, and he might be able to do so, but the smite comes true for back.
A heroic charge did not connect though. He might get a second chance, but now the Guan Yu is taking a lot of damage, and from the back, the Annihilation will annihilate him. But X will counter with a finishing stroke. However, we are going to take a breather, ladies and gentlemen, in the middle of a fight. It still looks kind of 50-50 though.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the situation, they've been able to actually refine a form of response by picking out the side of UH's support. But even despite so, I still think that is a worthy trait when you can actually secure a double from the side of X with that finishing stroke. Once again, timed so well, and that is the value of having Dolia to go in for those resets when required. And Mali I am alongside with hey, X is actually doing so much in the early span of match that sets Indonesia ahead 7-1.
Yeah, you have the double finishing stroke, especially with the Dolia onto the Shangguan, able to refresh. So it can be very, very painful. But speaking about pain, now Philippines, they're putting in back the pain onto Indonesia 3, trying to put them out of the jungle. But then again, Indonesia 3, they will still try to take over the spot. And so far, they're doing so good. Look at this. Even though they're pretty low on health, X was still going for it because he has to have the finishing stroke. But countered by the Annihilation from the other side. Still, the Guan Yu is still chasing down a player up onto his own tower. But in the middle, that's going to be a nice solo kill by Man.
Yeah, it's just so scrappy in this round itself. The timing on the Annihilation was perfect when he just finished channeling that finishing stroke, but eventually you saw the scrap didn't really pay out all too much. At least they do get a couple of shutdowns for Philippines to still keep themselves afloat, but they have to concede this Tyrant to the hands of Indonesia. So far, I love that proactive play because we were taking a look at where the Flowbone was at. He's at his own jungle, but it was the rest of his teammates that's aggressing, trying to find those avenues for pickoff, and they did manage to at least come up ahead for most part. So there'll be another avenue here as they're already looking to zone off this Guan Yu. So perhaps a Clash Lane Siege is going to be under effect, but over on the corners, Mali Ayam has been able to read some of the movements coming from the Philippines.
Yeah, and the Philippines, they have to read the movement of Indonesia as well. But the fact that they are not built with anti-heal yet, it's going to be tough for them if they were to engage in the fight. But the fact that the Dolia can sustain the entire team, and the team knows that. That's why they are still very aggressive in their engagement. But speaking about engagement, looks like they will go all in. Rewind goes all the way to the back line. But then again, think inside the box will be deployed. Managed to catch a couple of them, but not enough damage output from the Philippines to take them out, to follow up, and now Indonesia 3 will punish them for that.
Insane combos coming in from the full-born tank. As you saw, Mali Ayam goes in for the reset, gets that double airborne knocked up over onto the multiple targets of the Philippines. You thought that they were the ones slowly getting zoned out, but instead, that full-born turned the tides around. MAN, he's absolutely the man to really put them in the front of this driver's seat, and they've secured themselves the Overlord at the same time.
And again, guess who sustained them? It's Maling Ayam, the Dolia. Now, the Dolia not only has that healing spell, but also has a shield and also natural skills to use to sustain the team as well. So now, Indonesia 3, they are very, very sustainable when it comes to team fights. Philippines, they must purchase either the Venomous Staff or the Blazing Cape to counter back. If not, every team fight, they're going to find it really hard to win.
It definitely is difficult, but they can bank on hopes that if they do happen to have enough time to farm up towards the late phase, Bang can actually have some major impact in these battles, so long as they find a way to also deal with the Flowborn from keeping this Luna at bay. I think you just gotta find that angle to either jump onto Puchil, because over here, he's trying to initiate.
Oh, here comes the initiation onto the Young Jet. Rewind goes down now. They don't have any other tank. Philippines, they have to back off. They even lost the motor at the same time. Knight will go down as well. It's only down to Bang and Hayes. There's nothing much that they can do about this. For sure, they will lose their mid tower.
And just like that, a 3-for-1 exchange in favor of Indonesia allows them to go for that tier 2 tower. And there's still even more avenues over a bomb site. There's also another one being pushed over the top. So right now, Indonesia, they have full control over the map. A big reset for the Philippines. It is definitely a daunting task for them to upkeep. And all these hard shuffle away, so it is rather difficult for them to maybe go in for a battle. Good read as they manage to spot out this Guan Yu, but it is definitely pretty hard to catch a super mobile target, so they are not going to be eyeing out for that potential pickoff. Philippines now, they are just about 5,000 of a difference behind, so what they really do need is one good team fight, and perhaps that could happen in this upcoming Tyrant.
Yeah, and what's going to help them is the fact that Nai bought the Venomous stuff that's going to help them in the next major team fight. So that will help to reduce the amount of healing from the Dolia especially. But he must be able to at least send a burst damage onto the Dolia, which shouldn't be a problem because the Nua does have a lot of type of aerial burst damage, so he should be able to hit that one easily. But now the buff will be taken away by Indonesia 3 and they will look for their next target soon perhaps, but they are still waiting for the right moment.
Man, he's going for the health upgrade as well. I mean, the more health, the better for any form of tank Flowborn. But the way that he's playing is on an absolute carry note. Take a look at this Flowborn right now. 8-0-4. He's so beefy towards the point that it's almost no value for the Philippines to actually have all 5 members targeting that unit. Plus, you can always move aside. Meanwhile, the TP being channeled up, still unable to catch out this Guan Yu. And now that they funnel all these resources, the top side is absolutely for the taking as Indonesia once again sees a tier 2 tower.
Oh, even Myling Ayam is going for the Venomous stuff. You don't always see a Dolia going for that item. But okay. Right now they have absolute control, so they have it as part of their plan, so that's fine. Annihilation sent in attempt to steal away the Overlord, but unfortunately not able to. Just a little bit too late. By the bottom, we might see an engagement here that would result in a kill, and we will. It's going to be a 1v1 and Bang got it, but is he able to get away just in time? No!
Oh, he's cancelled!
Oh no, Bang! Not able to teleport away, not able to recall in time, and he will be punished for it.
That was too risky of a play. Sure, that was a little stylish on that 1 versus 1, but when you have 3 members and you are marked into the opposite side of the map, that just allows Indonesia to not only gain that 1 free kill, but also gain a free Tyrant because the jungler is already down, so there's just no point of the Philippines to contest, but there is the annihilation. It's still not going to be a steal as that is being secured by X. They're going for the chase. Finishing stroke, not finding anything though. So that flash has been burned up as we saw a response in kind. But there we go. The waves has been cleared up. They did manage to secure themselves that Shadow Overlord. And it's, once again, a pickoff of mid.
Oh, that's going to be a pickoff underneath the tower. They respond back with the Arrow Storm, but not enough damage output from Hayes, unfortunately, and now he has to back off. But from the inner side, he's still able to get another pickoff, getting the kill from the inside. At least they respond back with the defense, but now they have to respond back even bigger with the fact that Indonesia will go all the way in with the heroic charge to push them back, and now they'll put focus on the top lane as well. But Philippines, they will not go down without a fight. Still, they will try as they might, but Indonesia will still take them down. The Guan Yu falls to the hands of the Philippines. They still fight back though, but now it's only the Moser left. What else can do? All they can do right now is open the thing center box, try to buy a little bit more time. Now it's not really helping it out. And here comes the minion wave. Indonesia will take the win.
What a grueling fight it was. We saw a lot of back and forth, but Indonesia, they know how to just reap the rewards in those team fights. They always go for those 3-for-1 exchanges, and immediately throughout the span of the game, they've been able to stack all these advantages into something that's unstoppable. And can we just talk about the Flowborn tag that they just picked up to be the all-end answer to whatever the Philippines have drafted in this match?
Oh yeah, the Flowborn tag, the frontliner, the crowd control, the knockout guy, the choke slam guy. That was the all-in pick by them, as like what you mentioned. And with the fact that they had absolute control of the map, they jungle invaded early, they choked the resources from the Philippines, it allowed Indonesia 3 to just scale all the way. And by the time in Philippines, they got their second Venomous Staff, fought by Meku. It was just too late by that time.
Yeah, and I just think that this first pick Dolia was pretty genius when you actually go in for such a setup, because you have multiple targets that you can utilize your Melody on, whether if it's going to be Shangguan for the double finishing stroke, or even on that Flowborn to just have this immense team fight potential for the Flowborn tank to really come true. So it's a 12-0 streak going in favor of UH Mon. Meanwhile, if I were to actually give an MVP, I would actually give it to Maling Ayam, because you saw this Dolia was everywhere in the map.
Oh yeah, I mean, supports don't get enough credit, right? If you kind of think about it, like they normally don't do the sexy stuff, like the Dolia. Yeah, you don't expect the Dolia to like, oh, flash in, get a kill on the back line, tank like 10,552 damage or something like that, right? You don't expect the Dolia to do that. But what you said, Maling Ayam did was just stay cool behind, drops the heal, drops the refresh with the Celestial Melody, and that's all good. And as long as Maling Ayam is able to give the Celestial Melody to the right target, in this case, for the most part, is X, then job done. So I do agree. Gotta give credit to the support.
Yeah, and overall, I think like there's definitely grand ideas from the Philippines, but it takes a while for them to get to the right item spikes for them to really bear fruit. You saw Bank was actually ramping up towards the point that we have that amazing 1v1, but he just was a little bit off position, didn't really have enough time to go in for the recall back to the base, and got punished for it. And eventually, with that window of opportunity, you saw how quickly Indonesia snowballs it, securing that Tyrant, securing that Overlord, and it was just chaos all around. The Philippines had to really put their bodies on the line, but it was a little too difficult, as that shadow variant of the Overlord was just crashing with waves of the Vanguards pushing through. So it just eases out the process. Indonesia 3 back home, a very big win. But where does that place them in the groups right now is the biggest question here in Group D.
And we'll find that out later, because right now we're going to find out whether it's your pick, which is Maling Ayam as the MVP, or is it the system's pick as Man as the MVP. And looks like it's going to be Man by our officials, awarded the MVP. I mean, how can you argue with the fact that he has a perfect KD of 12 kills to no deaths, right?
Yeah, and on top of that, he's the one taking the brunt of the damage, also dealing 31% of what the total output was coming in from his team. So literally, he was the handyman. Like, you need a guy to fix all your problems. This is the guy to go to. It is Man from UH.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can kind of hear his dialogue right now, right? Like he goes like, "I have a special set of skills. I will find you."
I thought you're going.
Oh no.
I thought you were going to the Superman angle, but like I think like that could work out too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we know who's more into comic books right now, right? Between the both of us. But great work by Man. It was a great showing as well by not only him but also by the entire team. I'm sure he has to give credit to his supports as well, especially with Dolia, that enabled him to do what he does best.
Yeah, I think like it was just an incredible day of action, and that really seals it really nicely for us from what we saw. A lot of all these exchanges going blow for blow. I think like maybe the first 3 matches for today was a little bit more straightforward, just being blunt about it. But the final 2 games, oh boy, we're getting all these back and forth, and I can't wait to see what the top 4 offers for tomorrow. But of course, it's not over just yet. Of course, we want to reveal to you who will be the ones to be moving forward into the grand final stages. And of course, only 4 teams will make it out, and that actually guarantees these 4 teams with an added prize pool so that everybody walks away as winners. And for those who don't, I think that they've definitely learned a whole lot through this run of the ACS Edu Tour Season 4.
Yeah, you know what? I would summarize today as every other wedding dinner that I've attended.
Okay, tell me about wedding dinners. So what do you learn from it?
We start off with an appetizer.
Uh-huh.
We have the main course. And then now we're waiting for the dessert.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So would you say like the final match was like the dessert, or the result is the dessert itself?
well, the final few matches was the main course, right? Like we were served like some of the best matches here that we can see in the ACS Edu Tour series. And now the dessert is the sweetener, the sweet result of who will qualify to tomorrow's playoffs.
Yeah, the fruit of all that labor in most parts. So yeah. I kind of like the analogy so far. As of course, to go something sweet, I think like there's definitely something for everyone out there. Of course, you can cool down with a nice ice cold Vico, or if you're into something a little bit spicy, you can always grab yourself a Maggie hot cup as well. I think probably a couple of you guys back at home have been able to enjoy it through the run so far. And of course, speaking of which, I believe that we're going to be announcing the teams that we're representing eventually, so you guys can stay tuned to all the latest updates. Make sure you guys are, of course, following Grit Esports on their social media platform. Of course, we want to thank you guys for tuning in, and once more, we like to thank all of our partners for being on board through the journey of all these students paving their way in their esports future.
Yes, we'd like to thank Grit Malaysia for organizing this event for all of us, and also a special thank you to all our partners, official Instant Noodle Maggie Hot Cup, official smartphone Zacti Nubia, official chocolate malt drink Rico, official game Recharge 11, official telco Tune Talk. And this tournament is also supported by Malaysia Esports Federation, MESF, as well as Impact Integrated ESI. We're not done yet with our series for the entire 2 days, ladies and gentlemen. We will still have another day tomorrow in which the playoffs will be played. So make sure you stay tuned to, again, the social medias of Grit Esports Malaysia for more updates of this tournament. For tonight, that will be it. My name is Sir Cloud, together with my buddy here, Contra, that we have casted too long together that he gets my puns. We'll see you guys again tomorrow. Good night.